I was just sitting there playing, and here you are, and here am I. How is everyone? It's been a while since I last did this, and welcome to our little presentation here, Taste of Jazz. I'm going to do the last two sessions if you tuned in, and I hope you did, and I hope you enjoyed them. The starting of jazz guitar, and I brought you up through the swing time. But now what I'd like to do this session is I'd like to mention and talk about some important jazz guitar players, give you a little background on them, not too much. There will be a 4-page test after this, so please get out your pencils and papers and study hard. I'm going to also give you some, I'll play a little bit of what made the particular style important, what that guitar player brought to jazz guitar. The first guitar player I'm going to talk about is Joe Pass. Giuseppe Passalacqua is his name. He was born in New Jersey. Pennsylvania, he was born in Pennsylvania and moved to New Jersey. He was born in 1929, and Joe Pass was probably regarded as the world's greatest solo jazz guitar player. He did play in groups. In fact, he spent a lot of time and did many recordings with the great jazz pianist from Canada, Oscar Peterson. And also Joe worked with many singers. Among the singers that he worked with, Ella Fitzgerald, they did some beautiful duet music together. So what I'd like to do, I'd like to have you guys listen to a clip of Joe Pass. First of all, he's playing just by himself, solo guitar. And then after that, we'll listen to him backing up Ella Fitzgerald. And listen to his sensitivity. He's always listening to what she's singing, and he's never getting in the way of the vocal, but he's supporting the vocal. Now, Joe was an absolutely stunning single note player. He could play faster than anyone on the jazz guitar with playing bebop jazz lines. But also what he had a great harmonic knowledge. In other words, Joe wouldn't just play a couple of chords like this. Joe would do something like this. So he's running a bass line. As well as playing the chords. So you're hearing like a piano player playing boogie with his left hand in the bass and the chords with the right hand. Then Joe could take it a step further and play single notes on top of that and play melody lines. So he was pretty awesome. I hope you enjoy this clip. And here we go, Joe Pass. All right, so that was Joe Pass playing Ain't Misbehaving. Now Ella will take the stage, most fabulous jazz songstress. And listen to how Joe and Ella play the music together, but not only play the music together, listen and watch how they enjoy each other and the camaraderie and communication that they have with each other. It's beautiful.
Don't know why there's no sun up in the sky, stormy weather since my man and I ain't together. Keeps raining all the time. Life's so bare, gloom and misery everywhere. Stormy weather, just can't get my poor self together. I'm weary all the time, so weary all the time. Since he went away, the blues walked in and met me. If he stays away, old rocking chair will get me. All I do is pray the Lord above will let me walk in the sun once more. Can't go on, everything I have is gone. Stormy weather, since my man and I ain't together. Keeps raining all the time. Keeps raining all the time. Don't know why, no sun up in the sky, stormy weather, since my man and I ain't together. It keeps raining all the time. Life's so bare, gloom and misery everywhere. Everywhere, stormy weather, since my man and I ain't together. The blues walked in and met me. If he stays away, oh, rocking chair will get me. All I do is pray the Lord above will let me walk in the sun once more. Can't go on, everything I had is gone. Since my man and I ain't together, keeps raining all the time. Keeps raining all right, thank you.
Oh, that was a little bit of 7 Come 11. That reminds me of something. The next guitar player that we're going to hear is giant. Name was Herb Ellis from Texas. He was partnered up with Joe Pass on many, many recordings. And the little bit that I just played was from an album called 7 Come 11. It featured Herb Ellis, Joe Pass on guitars, Ray Brown on the upright bass, and Jake Hanna on the drums. I would recommend anyone that wants to hear jazz guitar, I would recommend that album highly. I listened to it as a young, aspiring jazz guitar player over and over and over. I practically wore it out. Anyway, Herb was born in 1921 in Texas. I spent a lot of time playing in studio orchestras, did a lot of recordings, did TV work, worked on the Merv Griffin show for a long time, but also worked with great jazz superstars of the day, Dizzy Gillespie, Roy Eldridge, worked with Stan Getz, and remember whatever Stan wants, Stan gets. Sonny Stitt, another great jazz alto player. So Herb did a lot of work and was a very influential guitar player in the blues bebop kind of, you know, being from Texas, he had a blues influence, but his bebop chops were unmatched. And of course he could chord solo and play beautifully behind any vocalist. So here is the great Herb Ellis. I'm proud to be an Okie from Muskogee. Why am I singing that song? Because this next jazz guitar player, a gentleman called Barney Kessel, is from Muskogee, Oklahoma. Barney was a wild man, great jazz guitar player, had blues influence, played very soulful lines, but also his chord playing. The way he played chords up and down the neck. He was all over the place. He was terrific. Played on many, many records. But Lady Sings the Blues, Billie Holiday. He was the guitar player and heard all those beautiful solos. That was Barney Kessel. He was her favorite guitar player. And at the time, Barney was on the top of his game playing in the studios and did lots of recordings. So I'd like to listen to Barney and enjoy his playing. And if you listen real carefully, you can hear some really cool blues influences. that great? The next gentleman I'd like to introduce you to, his name is Jimmy Rainey. Now, Jimmy was a very lyrical guitar player. His lines were melodic. He had a very good command of the bebop language. And he was from, let me check my notes here, Louisville, Kentucky. And he was born in 1927. He passed away in 1995. He did do some recordings with his son, Doug Rainey, who's also a great guitar player. Jimmy has played with Artie Shaw, Woody Herman, and Buddy DeFranco. But a little different style, very different style from Barney Kessel. Seems to me more controlled. Barney's on the wild side of things, and Jimmy Rainey seems a little more controlled. So hope you enjoy this cut. Here's Jimmy Rainey. In this edition of Taste of Jazz, the history of jazz guitar player, the last guitar player I'd like to bring to you today is Tal Farlow. Tal Farlow is a really, really interesting fellow. He was very tall, had huge hands. In fact, his nickname was Octopus because his hands just covered the fretboard of the guitar. Incredible player. Tal's unique talent, because his hands were so big, I would play a chord like this. Tal would play it like this, with his thumb playing the bass line, and would use his thumb where I would use my fingers. Tal would be using his thumb, which allowed him to use his other fingers for melodies. So it was really quite an amazing feat to watch him play, hence the name Octopus. Tal was also an artist. And I don't mean a musical artist. I mean, he painted billboards. He was a commercial artist. In fact, when his career was not going so well, he went back to painting billboards, which is kind of sad, because a guitar player of his stature, in my opinion, should, have made a wonderful living. But that's jazz. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed Tal's playing, and I'll be back with you in a minute. How about that? Tal Farlow from Greensboro, North Carolina, born in 1921 and passed away in 1998. You know, when he was at the top of his game, he was playing with the Red Norvo group. That's where he really got a lot of people to go, hey, who's this guy? And he played also with Artie Shaw. Next time you see me, I'm going to bring some clips of Tal Farlow, Barney Kessel, Charlie Bird, Herb Ellis, in different formats playing together. There was, starting in the 60s and 70s, there was an organization that these guys were all friends, of course, and they had a recording organization called Great Guitars. They put out several albums called Great Guitars. And in different lineups, it wasn't always the same, in different lineups, usually 3 guitars, bass, and drums, and very well thought out arrangements, and the music was great. So I hope you look forward to that. I'm going to be bringing some of that to you next time. Now, I would like to say a couple of things before I leave off. Of course, thanks to everyone that helps us put on this show. And of course, City of Pompano and Kay and Jody and my friends over at Gold Coast Jazz, Pam, and everybody that helps out. On a personal note, this COVID-19 thing is, I'm okay, I'm surviving it, but I've got to tell you, I will never in my life ever again, should I get the opportunity to perform in front of an audience, I will never take an audience for granted. I will cherish every second, because you can do whatever you like to do as a musician online, but it's sterile and it's cold. And I realize that, especially being a jazz musician, I live for the feedback that you give me when I'm playing. If I'm not playing so hot and you're sitting there, I go, oh, you better go home and practice some more. And if I'm playing and you guys are really digging it and you let me know, then the energy that I get from you guys is unbelievable. So thank you all for being jazz fans, and till I see you again, peace and love. Stay healthy, stay safe. Hey folks, how you doing? I was just sitting there playing and here you are, and here am I. How is everyone? It's been a while since I last did this, and welcome to our little presentation here, Taste of Jazz. I'm going to do the last 2 sessions if you tuned in, and I hope you did, and I hope you enjoyed them. The starting of jazz guitar, and I brought you up through the swing time. But now what I'd like to do this session is I'd like to mention and talk about some important jazz guitar players, give you a little background on them, not too much. There will be a 4-page test after this, so please get out your pencils and papers and study hard. I'm going to also give you some, I'll play a little bit of what made the particular style important, what that guitar player brought to jazz guitar. The first guitar player I'm going to talk about is Joe Pass.